Hello guys, today I'll be presenting the 54th Massachusetts Regiment. Robert Goode Shaw was a reluctant leader of the famous 54th Massachusetts Infantry, and Robert Shaw commanded the first, or one of the first, African American regiments in the Civil War, which at that time it was controversial, and even for him, he thought it was kind of weird. At the time he took command of the 54th, he was only 25 years old, and he already taken part in several battles, including the infamous Battle of Antietam, which I talked about in my teacher topic 1, I believe. And his previous regiment was the 2nd Massachusetts. He was hesitant to leave his comrades for a regiment he doubted would even, see the action. He was born to a British abolitionist family in October 10th, 1837, and he did not share the same passion for, freeing the slaves as his parents and family was. As a young man, he spent several years traveling before attending Harvard University from 1856 to 1859. And when war came, he seemed to find his purpose and immediately enlisted. He later joined the 2nd Massachusetts, and he will become the 2nd lieutenant, and serving for 2 years, he will later, finally get the rank of captain. Early in February 1863, abolitionist John A. Andrews of Massachusetts called for the first use of the black soldiers. Massachusetts did not have any black residents, but by the time the 54th Regiment kicked off, more than 1,000 men had volunteered. Many came from New York, Indiana, Ohio, and even from Canada, which is really crazy. The most famous enlisters were Charles and Lewis Douglas, which were the sons of the famous abolitionist Frederick Douglass. Everybody knows that name. John A. Andrew will later recruit Shaw in March of 1863 to command one of the first black regiments, as we know, in the Union Army. And at first, Shaw only wanted to take command to appease his mother, but he eventually grew respect for his men and believed that they would fight as equal and as well as white soldiers. And he was eager to get his men into action to prove this. At first, they were assigned to do labor, and they did not see action until they had a brawl with some Confederate troops on James Island. There were some controversies, of course, right? A lot of people did not like black soldiers to be in the war, especially the South did not see that as kindly as the North. Um, even if they enlisted to end slavery and the Confederacy, the African American soldiers fought another injustice, as the white soldiers got paid $3 more than the black soldiers, and the black soldiers got like $10, I believe, a week. Their salary was $10 a week, and the soldiers were 13. And when Robert Shaw learned about this, he held a boycott of all the wages, even his own, until the situation changed. The situation did not change until the war was almost over. Two days later, after the James Island brawl they had, Shaw and his men got chosen to lead an attack at Fort Wagner that defended Charleston. It was one of the two forts, I believe. And sadly, Robert Shaw was killed early in the charge, bravely urging his men to march forward. And the 54th Regiment proved everyone that they were as useful and as brave as the white soldiers. And the aftermath. The Confederates refused to return Shaw's body back to the Union because he led black troops, and He thought that was weird. Like I said before, that was a big controversy, especially in the South. Um, so they kind of like, it's like a spin on his face or something, right? Like because he led black soldiers. So instead of honorably giving the body back, they buried his body in a trench, in a common trench with his men. Um, but instead of seeing this as a dishonor, Shaw's father stated, "We will not have his body removed from where it lies. Surrounded by his brave and devoted soldiers, we can imagine no holier place than that in which he lies, among his brave and devoted followers, nor wish for him a better company. What a bodyguard he has." The legacy of the 54th Regiment. They did make a statue. It was the first civic monument to pay homage to the heroism of the African American soldiers, and there it is. There's Shaw, and with his men right here, and they still the army, still respects the statue. I think it was recently graffitied by the Black Lives Matter movement, sadly, and right now they're restoring it, and I think they spent a couple $1 million to restore it. And of course, if you haven't heard about these guys before, I bet you did hear about the movie Glory, the 1989 film, starring Matthew Broderick, Denzel Washington, and Morgan Freeman. Amazing movie. If you guys haven't seen it, it's like one of my favorites. Actually, it's a really good movie. And thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions, if I did something wrong, please let me know. I'm happy to hear any opinions. And here are some of the works cited. Here's some of the Here's the works cited right here. And thank you guys for listening. Have a great break.